Hello and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Public Conscience on Radio, the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society group with the mandate to work for good governance, participation, and accountability in Nigeria. I'm Okiria Agbonsu Remi. Adalbio Buabumo is my co-anchor.
On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. We are supported by the MacArthur Foundation.
And we are grateful to the MacArthur Foundation for supporting us in our bid to get you enlightened, get the government to work, and then work around those templates that will assist in the openness and the accountability in government circles. Today we bring you into the focus of the guidelines set by the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, for the management of the COVID-19 funds. Last week we had the ICPC with us and the discussion was quite robust. Today we are looking at the BPP rules and the promises to be interesting as well.
The BPP guidelines are set out to ensure transparency, accountability, probity, and value for money in their procurement proceedings. The guidelines, if followed dutifully, have the capacity to take care of the fears of mismanagement of the funds by members of the public.
And we will bring you to speed with some of the salient provisions of the BPP guidelines, just as we did last week with the ICPC guidelines. The ICPC guidelines, you recall, provided the accounting principles that must be followed, where monies must be paid into, and how the templates encourages accountability. Now, under the guidelines of the BPP, all procuring entities are to prepare procurement plans for all the projects that specifically responds to COVID-19.
These plans should be uploaded into the Nigeria Open Contracting Portal, NOCOPO, where it will be assessed by the BPP. Any project that is not included in the procurement plan of the procuring entity shall not be processed for payment, notwithstanding the source of the funds for the project.
However, the BPP guidelines could not jump over the provisions of the Procurement Act, which leaves wide holes in the room in the form of direct contracting under emergency. Of course, the COVID-19 spending is under emergency. There are emergency funding, and there's a provision under the BPP guidelines, the provisions that has drawn up essentially from the Procurement Act that makes it possible for the procurement under the COVID-19 funds management to rely on the emergency spending. And we are talking of direct contracting. Direct contracting means that there are no biddings in some of them, and then you need to just get confident that those you are allowing to do supplies and do the work are selected under broad guidelines that are set out under the Procurement Act.
How do we ensure that the emergency purchases provisions are not abused? How open will the adherence to the guidelines be? And how will the BPP monitor to ensure that the guidelines are respected? Kachi Chukwu, the Program Officer, Public and Private Development Center, PPDC. Thanks for joining us on the program.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So thank you for joining us, Dr. Samamandi. We want to appreciate you for coming in, and we know that you have been doing a lot at your own level, at your organization in these areas, and indeed you have had interactions with the BPP itself to get an understanding. So we want to draw from your insights, want to get from you what you think about some of them. I remember that you can follow us on our social media platforms at official PRIMOG. PRIMOG is PRIMORG, PRIMORG. So if you just go to our Facebook page now, we are streaming. You can join us. That is at official PRIMOG. And you can watch our videos on PRIMOG TV. We have a very robust, very interesting page on that is our channel on YouTube. Primog TV, you find all our videos, all our interactions, our nuggets. They're out there, and you can really find them very interesting. And you also need to subscribe. Just press the button when you subscribe. You get reminders each time we are on air live, and each time we have a new video posted.
And the WhatsApp number to send your message is 0902 265 6167. That is 090 2265 6167. This number is for messages only.
We are happy that you have knowledge of the provisions of the BPP guidelines. You were with us last week when we were looking at the ICPC guidelines, and the provisions of the BPP guidelines are the ones that you want to quickly take a look at and see how it goes. Like Adaobi said, he said the BPP guidelines were set out to ensure transparency, accountability, probity, and value for money in the procurement process. But there were some fears we have also raised that the BPP guidelines could not jump over the provisions of the Procurement Act. Of course, they were also drawn out from it. But this aspect is that area that leaves some holes in the form of direct contracting under emergency. That's actually where we want to talk about. Under the emergency guidelines, the COVID-19 funds does not follow the strict provisions of the open bidding, let the people decide, because they don't have time for it. It's an emergency. Now, tell us your perspective about this.
Well, thank you very much. I think first we should realize that the Public Procurement Act itself made provision for what we call the council, which was never inaugurated. Under actually, the president actually had put up everybody together about to inaugurate that council when you were advised that it would be ceding power to the finance minister and its NGOs. And up to this government, nobody has put in that. That council is critical. Because that council is a mixed body. Civil society has representation, professionals have representation, the finance minister is there, and other bureaucrats. So the idea is that the council is the one that sets benchmarks and all this. So the council would have looked at the situation, issued a proper guidelines. Okay, in the circumstances, this is what will meet the requirement of both competitiveness, value for money, transparency and accountability. So that's a big omission.
Well, when you say the council hasn't been set up, what do you think is the problem?
The problem is because presidencies think about taking control of procurement. If you like, the money or the political meat in this game is procurement because of the way Nigeria is. So that's why people get to the government and they get richer, either as governor or as president, whereas elsewhere people get office and they lose money because they're not working. And then when they now leave office, they start writing books, start being on
to build up.
But here, so no governor, no president wants to leave out. Even President Buhari actually campaigned on that basis. We thought that when they come, they're going to sit on that council. Yar'Adua was about the only person who wanted to do that. In fact, they have invited Rafsanjani. They were members of that council, for the NGO side. They already seated for the morning inauguration. Imamo came and said, "This is a coup. You're going to lose control of procurement because the chairman will be the Minister of Finance, and then there will be." So this essentially the cabal, every government has an issue of cabal. The minders of the presidency don't want this shift of power. And so that's what has made procurement problematic in this country. That's the number one thing. Because that council is independent and makes, open. So they look at it in an intelligent way and set out guidelines. For example, NNPC has almost like a waiver to do everything. It's because the Bureau of Public Procurement exempt them. From the bureaucracy, which is also precedence. Don't forget that the BPE DG is an appointee without tenure.
Yeah.
So it has no independence. So that is a bureaucracy that's annexed to presidency, to the State House. And therefore, the independence and the neutrality is very questionable.
And one would have expected that the president, any president for that matter, should be comfortable. Because if the finance minister is the chairman of the program, then what is the fear?
They ask who is the presidency. The presidency is bigger than the president. So people at the presidency don't want the finance minister is just somebody probably because of capacity or whatever. So the critical question then is that these guidelines they issued now is a guideline that leaves too much discretion for those who are going to spend the money. We understand that it can't do full bidding. But when we're there, they can give you exemption that you don't need to advertise for 3 weeks, 5 like they said. But then you'll be required to pick between established providers. So today, for example, most of the things we're talking about PPEs and maybe
ventilators
and all those machines are supplied by well-known
Vendors.
A vendor. So it's not a case of somebody is going to buy 5 bags of rice. So you can buy from Abakaliki, you can buy from Bauchi or anywhere. These are well-known vendors in standardized markets. So what people normally do for under this emergency procurement is that you go to those people and pick from those vendors. The pricing is indexed globally, so you would know. So it's not a case of, okay, we under emergency we have to buy this, and then there's a middleman who goes and says he's procuring what Siemens does, and the price of Siemens is 2,000, and the middleman is 100,000 because it is emergency. So emergency procurement can still be done in a manner that is standardized, accountable, for value for money. Don't forget that the base of this procurement is 3 things. One is so that conflict of interest. You don't go and procure, give to your people, so there's competition.
Yes.
2 is that the price is competitive, so you get less value. People look at people to win. People look at margin of profit and reduce it. I want to outcompete you.
Yes.
So reduce the margin of profit or improve the quality, either way. So government ends up getting a better value for cost-efficient value in that case because it's paying less. But the way it's being done now is that if you exempt too many things and leave it to discretion without that level of control and competition, then you are creating opportunity to, in fact, you are subverting the very policy guidelines of the Public Procurement Act. So I think that those guidelines are arguably okay because of emergency, but they leave a lot of discretionary rooms for discretion.
Let's take a look at the ICPC and the BPP guidelines. We talked about them briefly last week. We saw the broad spectrum of open account. The account shall be maintained by these, the signatory should be this, and all those rules. And then we saw a more broader, more definitive one that is drawn from the Procurement Act from the BPP itself. Now, can we compare both guidelines?
Okay, the ICPC guideline is looking at the whole issue around corruption. The BPP guideline is looking at the process of procuring something. So ICPC is first, maintain a transparent account, one account. So if you receive this money from this account, so TSA now solves the problem with the Accountant General saying you must have to, the money that comes to government on this go to Accountant General's office, okay? Then you create an account for your own operation, which the Accountant General should give permission. So what ICPC do, they look at the whole government, say first with the money. So we know where the money is.
Yes.
We know signatory, designated to person who is not the chairman himself. So somebody, which is the usual thing, somebody approves and some other people issue the checks and facilitate the transaction. So you can see, you want to create more transaction costs so that collusion will be less. That's arguable, even though all of them can come and collude. But on the paper, when 2 or 3 more people are involved in transaction, the cost of negotiating the deal is higher from an economic point of view. Okay.
I hope the cost is not even higher by way of everybody colluding and satisfy everybody.
And increasing the lead. Well, theory, the economists will say transaction cost means you have to convince me because maybe if you have one religious person there, one hopefully righteous person there, then it becomes difficult. Now, that's what. Then second, they said, okay, fine. Even in the way you deploy the money, the way the cash flow, once the paper trail, you see the paper trail, we know what it's used for, so we can go back and do auditing. Most of those are not going to be captured in terms of the BP. The BP is concerned with basically that in buying what you want to buy, we want to see that it was competitive.
And they followed the
process.
Yes.
And someone who got it is the person who gave the best value to government. So the ICPC is broader. It's also built on BPE because BPE is a statutory regulator of procurement. But I think what will be very important will be the daily published account release that the Minister of Finance or so and the Accountant General
officers. Yeah. We'll be coming to that. But just before we come to Kachi, fears are being expressed over the abuse, likely abuse. You actually mentioned it a bit now. The abuse of the provisions under the Emergency Procurement Act, which permits direct contracting. Mm-hmm. That's direct contracting.
The direct contracting actually, this is the first time. The thing about direct contracting is best used for standardized OEMs, so what we call original equipment manufacturers. So, for example, I want to buy a computer. Okay?
Yes.
Dell, HP. So, if you make a decision that I want to buy, let's say the computer I want is Apple.
Yes.
MacBook, okay? So, the direct contracting is right to the manufacturer.
Just get them there.
Direct.
We need 500
pieces of
price is there. If they want to give you discount, they can give discount based on number. So it's okay, go direct, purchase from them. You don't need a middle. Don't forget that most of this procurement is enterprises who procure on behalf of government. So if you say what,
It's actually supposed to save money, actually.
that's the point. So the point is that, look, since we know this equipment, we know the
And we even know the price.
so why do we need to go
No,
and waste
we don't.
time?
And look for
Because
it.
sometimes procurement could be more is costly for government. So go and buy the thing from direct purchase. So it's easy to know this is the price. You go to the website, see the price, they supply it, the times by the number, the freight cost.
Does it they have any prospect of being abused?
The abuse will not be. It's the only way you can abuse is two ways. One is that sometimes if people go there and negotiate, okay, in which case they can say, well, for Nigeria, this price, especially if it's obscure product,
Yes.
not established reputable companies. So let's assume there's a product that's manufactured in China or in India by one obscure who has no reputation to lose. So they can say that the cost is X. But for things like global standard brand, it's difficult for the abuse, except it's case of non-delivery. So people fake documents and say, look, they have purchased, because the CEO of Apple is not talking to you, what are you buying? So someone may be posting at the other end and saying they have agreed, signed to supply to Nigeria 500 and nothing arrives. So,
Okay.
but in terms of the pricing, it's difficult to abuse because you already can click on the computer and know the price of that product.
Thank you so much for the background you've given us on open contracting. Mr. Kachi, I know that at PPDC you have done a lot with regards to the guideline. The PP guidelines are not really new to you and your organization. So what safeguard does it present under the current circumstance?
Okay, so I'll start by saying that the BPP really, they've been forthcoming, surprisingly, because even before the guidelines were released, we're on air with them on a webinar. They informed us that in 2 days they were going to release the guidelines, because the webinar was based on what are your plans, where we as civil societies were not able to get data or information related to COVID procurement. So what are you doing, and how are you going to ensure that MDAs actually, disclose such information? That's when we were informed that they are going to draw up a guideline, which they did 2 days after. And after the release of the guidelines, we also had yet another webinar with them where a lot of civil societies were able to ask them questions, also find out how they will ensure implementation by MDAs. And from what I gathered, I feel it's also important that the civil societies at this particular time, they also have a whole lot of role to play, in as much as the BPPs, they're in charge of procurement in Nigeria, but they also need the voices of the masses and the civil societies to ensure the proper implementation of these guidelines, because ordinarily from the guideline it stated that MDAs are supposed to, their procurement plans are supposed to upload it on the Nocopo portal. Unfortunately, that hasn't,
Taken off.
It hasn't taken off at all.
The question that arises from this level is, we also went to the portal yesterday
Right.
to check if there's anything in that place, but monies have been spent.
Yeah.
So why are
So
they not being uploaded on the portal?
there's a gap.
Right. So this was the same question that was arising from there, and it's the impression, or what we got from BP is that they've also written officially to procuring entities, particularly the Ministry of Health, NCDC,
To upload, yeah.
to upload and release such information, and they are hoping that very soon such data will also be released. And they also requested also that civil societies also try also put pressure on the MDAs also by making requests, and which my organization, I know a lot of organizations have also done similar thing. We've written FR requests to such MDAs are also into COVID procurement.
Which of the MDs is it?
We've
right?
written to NCDC, we've written to the Federal Ministry of Health, we've written to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
And even
Any
by
response?
implication, even by implication, we should also begin to ask the Presidential Task Force, because they are the chairman of the Presidential Task Force told everyone that they make requests, they have the account they're also operating, so they should also do some uploads.
Ordinarily, it's just the way the Nigerian system actually works. These things are really not difficult if we're actually wanting to do the things they're supposed to. Really, there are platforms, the Treasury portal as well, which since it's been launched, MDAs are supposed to be uploading, if not daily, at least weekly, all the procurements or any financial transactions done. Well, unfortunately, if you see, there is only the federal government part that they've been consistent, but all the MDAs, nothing. From my own understanding, I feel the problem we have is a question of implementation, really, because I think a lot of these MDAs feel they can do this and then get away with it because really there are no repercussions, there are no penalties. So I think it's also something that we should also move towards to see how they can also start penalizing MDAs that fail to disclose these informations. Because we can't have all these portals and have all these platforms and that promises to provide us with the necessary information and the data sets available. But when you visit such platforms, it's empty. You see nothing, really. So for me, this guideline is a step in the right direction, but unfortunately, the implementation is still going to be a problem. So for the BPP guidelines, it's actually supposed to aid MDAs in making procurements as it pertains to COVID, yes?
Dr. Amadi, I hope you recall that when the ICPC the director came on the program, we made her to announce this website severally, so that we understand the Treasury.
That's the opentreasury.gov.ng.
Yeah, and that she said, look, if you cannot find it there, it gives an indicator, red that something is wrong. Now, Kachi is telling us now, look, we need to begin to put pressure on them to upload and give us information. Does it give you some fears?
Kachi is right. These are good processes. Don't forget that I said that the critical thing about government is the willingness to comply and the effectiveness of enforcement. What people call body language. So oftentimes public officers are cynical. They know that, look, you said this office, we're going to be doing transparency. They laugh at you. You're not disclosing anything. When we're public-private corporation in 2013, we were the number one in NEC. We were the best procurement. Because we invite civil society to sit there. We give you the tail. Everybody sees the record. So it's not enough to say. See, government is being cynical. They create this.
You know, you had a background.
Yes,
because
so
when
they do tell us the story, they create the systems, we are accountable, we have this. The people in the system know that organ doesn't mean this thing. Nobody's going to, we can even bet that nobody will post anything. Look at the very strict system. Weekly reporting.
Yes, weekly.
Those things are very, very important. Those things difficult to commit. Everyone will see who is buying what the money is spent for.
Yes.
So
what brand of thing you bought?
And
How much?
NGOs now tracking a different thing.
Following the money.
So I would be surprised if, apart from the Ministry of Finance maybe, or nobody will post anything there. You see, so that goes to talk about the level of coherence in governance. You see, clarity, coherence, and consistency. Clear rules. What do we want to achieve? We want to achieve honest, accountable expenditure on COVID. Coherence. You align every system. Pastor heads know that there's a consequence for this. If you look at the last couple of years, you've seen the same drama of public officers being indicted, stories emerging, cloud of witnesses here, and then they disappear, nothing moves on. So people learn and the system get inoculated to this threat of accountability, and they just do their business. So I'm not surprised that
nobody has posted
entry. And I would be surprised if after this program, they start posting.
Actually, you made mention that your organizations, you've written FOI requests to Ministry of Finance, Agriculture. Did they respond?
No response yet. But sometime last week we got a response from the Civil Defense. They responded by providing us what they've done as regards to their procurement. So actually, it's just the Civil Defense that has been the only one that has responded.
And then they're not on the front line of spending.
Exactly. The people who are at the front line are not even, trying to give out information related to their procurements, really. Now,
I think we should continue to, as part of our duty, Dr. Sam Amadi and Kachi, as part of our duty in the civil society space, is to let the people know that the website is actually not just for Primog. It's not for your organization. It's for everyone. Yeah. That if you can go to opentreasury.gov.ng, that is where we are supposed to learn, like school pupils. Every week, okay, how many sanitizers did they buy? How many? They are supposed to post it there. But let me come to Kachi. Kachi, what duties have we? I mean, if you say we make out, like he said, maybe after this program they begin to post. But we need to do more. Maybe we should get set up. We should get some organizations that are go to court to say we should compare them. Because at the end of the day, the prediction of Dr. Amadi is that he can almost swear that they will not post anything. Are we going to live with this?
I won't be surprised. So, basically, even before when my administration started the whole open contracting advocacy in Nigeria, which led to the establishment of the Nokopo portal by the BPP. Ordinarily, this is also another platform that MDs are supposed to also upload their procurement. This is pre-COVID, you understand. But when you visit this website, too, MDs were not even complying. They were not uploading their procurements there. So this was when there was no emergency. This was when everything was normal. They didn't upload. So I'm really not expecting them to upload now.
Without this emergency.
Really, because even when you a couple of people have said, a couple of us spoken with, they said they've made FY requests to MDs and they'll tell you that there's nobody in the office or that the person, the FY desk officer is not available and all that. So different excuses. This was prior to before they uneased the lockdown and all. But that really wasn't an excuse because even the Act allows you can make a request via emails. The Attorney General's guide allows you to make requests online, but unfortunately, most of their emails, they didn't get any correspondence from that. So I think it's, apart from the making of FY requests also, I also think it's also important for civil society, citizens, everybody to also put more pressure on MDAs, through talk shows like this, because I believe is when something is being hammered on a couple of times, I think it will actually help because at this point I feel, this is my own personal opinion, I feel probably the BPP is a bit helpless in this case because they're not really getting the compliance that they should be getting from the MDAs. Because really, I don't really think it will be this difficult if you've been provided the templates and the guidelines which would help you in providing people with the necessary information. I didn't really expect that it would be this difficult. So I think it will need more pressure from the citizens, we need more pressure from the civil societies to these MDs. I think that's what will actually get us what we actually need.
We will not get discouraged. We will not get discouraged if we continue to follow up. One of the things that will be surprising you is government set up an agency, they set up a procurement process, they spend money to design a website, and they say, look, if you have expenditure in the spirit of openness, every week post your expenditure, and no agency, no MDA is obeying it. And this is not new. Now we have an emergency that has come. Nobody is obeying it. And we need to begin to put pressure on everyone. Then you want to ask, what else? What really is? And when this is happening under a Buhari administration that trades on openness and has said it's going to change things, and then you begin to wonder what's actually happening. The civil service, the bundle of character, color, and the way we behave in our public sector, in the civil service, you begin to wonder what is happening. Dr. Amadi, can somebody go to court? You are a lawyer. Is there any line in the law that says you must, so that we can ride on that?
No, it's justiciable. And by the way, let's forget our experience in strategic litigation. That's why I'm not happy with the social media that has taken over Twitter and Facebook. Because and people are taking that salvation there. In those days, the government, PPA is a law. The power of BPP to drive.
Yes, from the act.
It's a law. It's a subsidiary legislation. Actually, whatever BP issues pursuant to that power, with or without the council, is a subsidiary legislation.
Yes.
And is binding. Then the government has created a portal, a requirement based on the Academic powers, the Minister of Finance, and in fact, they're exercising presidential power. So it's binding, it's obligatory.
So the people who are actually violating it, actually violating the law and the presidential powers.
Constitution, Section 5, so the president has the power to manage the Constitution. And in doing that, he say he can decide that power by himself, his VP, minister, or any other public officer. So if something like this one is said, it got a presidential approval.
Yes.
Whatever the president has approved is a presidential act in furtherance of Section 5. So the agencies are obligatory to fulfill it. So you can even start with a letter mandating that they should do it, mandamus, and they fail to go to court and seek for a mandamus because they ought to perform. In fact, even before the case is finished, this government reacts to bad publicity when it's become, avalanche. Initially, they don't care. So, and by the way, the system should be made to work. What we are seeing today is a sort of lethargy in the system. You saw the confusion around the SGFs and the ministers, issues around appointment. We need to strengthen the government by this kind of advocacy. So if we don't do that, the government can go into sort of like a coma. Things are not working. Rules are there, nobody's following them. Why are they not following them? And that's the work that ministers should be doing. Ministers oversight over agencies, not to be asking them to make money or control their daily operation.
Or how many contracts are still remaining.
If they don't, you sack them. It's for them to show that they are following the policies. They should audit. You see, we are mentally lazy, so people are looking for money. If you see that as a minister, you don't say parastatals. This is a government policy. Right to the head of
I say you have to follow.
I've gone to the place. I didn't see a posting. Explain to me why you guys are not following through. That's the reason ministers are oversight over agencies, not oversight to come and tell them who to employ.
Who to give the job to?
Then who to give contract. That's why some of us we fought with all the ministers and we are just we would go to the law and say, Mr. President, I'm a presidential aide. This minister is not doing his work. Your work is not to control the independent operations of the agencies. It's to make sure that they comply with government policy direction. So they're not doing that. So yes, you can go to court. It's the pressure will force the ministers and the presidency or the chief of staff or the SGF
to do their work.
To come and say audit. And they come to issue them, come and explain why. Then they will now find out, oh, you did it today, even if it is late night, what they call Monday morning quarterbacking. It's fair.
Of course, the public and the private development center, Primonk, and a whole lot of organizations have a lot to do here, a lot of job to do here to mount pressure on government agencies to just obey by posting their expenses and their expenditure profile there, so that, because if they don't post it, we don't have the basis, we don't even have the clear basis to query the quality of what they are buying, where they are buying it from. Because if you say, I have said it on this program before last week, and I said the cost of a ventilator ranged from $2,500 to $25,000. If the Ministry of Health or the Presidential Task Force upload it to this portal, we will know the kind of ventilator they are buying. We'll be able to say this ventilator with this brand from so country. We can begin to file FOI to say, look, is this the costs? Because we can see this on the internet, it costs us so amount of money. And of course, Dr. Amadi, that is why they will not post it. That's why we have to compel them to post it. Because they provided you with the bullets to shoot them down. Now, we have the privilege under this program, Adaobi, to allow the listener to contribute, because it's an essential part of the program, to contribute to the program so that we can have your views, we can have your own insight into what we are talking about, the expenditure profile of government with regards to the COVID-19 expenses, the portal that has been set up by the government, ordinarily, even under normal circumstances, for people to participate and bring out the information to the public. We are asking, why are they not being done, and what are your perspectives to them? And please, when you get to us, we want to encourage you to spend as little as 30 seconds, not more than 45 seconds. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Raymond, I'm calling you from Itama.
Thank you so much, Raymond.
Good morning to your guests in the studio. You remember last week I called and I was the one who asked the question about the political will to do some of these things, right? And immediately after they didn't give out that website last week, I quickly logged on to try and see what I could find on that treasury.gov. First of all, it wasn't even easy to navigate or to find what you wanted. You get. But I can tell you that this morning I will try to log on to the website now and I'm getting a DNS error. Okay? So these are the issues. It's somebody, like I said that time, nobody just put up the website. But how do you monitor these things? Right now the website is down. Right? How do you access it? It's the thing. Okay? So it is still the same problem that we're experiencing in this country. I hope they are listening that now, and if there is anybody who manages the website, who's the web server, who's the web host, or whatever it is that is involved, they should put it up, at least let it work. Let us even see that it's working. So that when we log in, we can say at least one part of it is working. Now the information on it now, is it still, is it correct? That one is a different battle. So you see the several battles now we need to fight. How about, and I think this is for you guys too in the CSO world, how about if you get the spokesperson to the president, maybe send additional for instance, and put this kind of question to him directly? Maybe that can also help start the ball rolling. Because yes, it's good that having these talks, but we have to also start trying to induce them directly and give them direct answers. Because if ICPC cannot hold, ICPC have put up the guidelines, the website and all the things are there. But somebody somewhere within the system has to be able to start, asking questions and, pushing them. So maybe we can try to bring one of these government spokespeople, the spokesguys, because they're the ones always trying to say everything is moving, everything is touching and all that. Let's put this kind of question directly to them. Why is this not done? And then follow up like the next 2 weeks and see what happens. Then they will clearly know that we are on them, we are on to them, and we are watching and we are expecting results. And if that doesn't happen, it is clear to everyone, and to them that they have died for anti-corruption thing is actually not working, and then maybe they can make amends. That's just an idea.
All right.
Thank you guys, and well done.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm happy that we have citizens who are who have made up their mind. Go to the website, and as we have said, opentreasury.gov.ng. That is the website. That is our monitor board. That is where we need to see if we begin to look at. And I believe that so many organizations will begin to look at how to go to further by compelling. Hello.
Hello, Victor. I'm calling from the country.
Victor, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to commend your guest, Dr. Sam Amadi. The way he's breaking it down, very intelligent. I like it. I want to also commend you too for let's keep talking. Maybe one day they will listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We keep talking, and one day they will listen. Definitely, they will listen. I remember that I think Sam Amadi has a better story of it, because at the level of when we see Gani Fawehinmi entering the court that time, jumping in, jumping out, filing orders for seeking orders of Madamus to compel government to take action. Like you said, the Facebook and the social media generally are the ones singing it now, but they are not reacting to the Facebook
thing.
thing.
People feel that once I posted it, I have 50 likes, and then what has happened? There's nothing more powerful like the courts. Saying something, it's more powerful.
Well, we want your input. We have a government that is running on templates provided by ICPC, by the BPP. We also have a framework that's set up by the Accountant General's office. From the Accountant General's office, we have a framework that actually is so definitive and detailed. Then we have laws under the Procurement Act that should ordinarily guide us. And then the thinkers, those who are there, also thought, look, government should be open and make it possible for whatever government is doing to be posted, so that every week we can go there. Any website will be open. You go there and see what is happening, but no posting is going on. And one of my guests here said he's afraid that they may never post anything there. And the second of my guests is saying we will have to go to court. We will have to do everything, organize more programs like this to compel those agencies to begin to post things. Why are they not posting things that they are buying? Why? That is the question. Hello.
My name is Joe from Kuje.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chuks. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Boss, I wish to appreciate you for what you have been doing. We have been following you on quite a good number of programs and what you are doing. Well, the Lord will continue to bless you. Why do we need to chase these people up and down to do what they are supposed to do? It is very simple. They smear their conscience. Every Friday, people go to mosque. Every Sunday, people go to churches. The places are filled to the brim. And yet, we are saying what we are saying. That is to say that the words they hear from the pulpit or from the mosque is not actually entering there. Only God will save this nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sounding very, very discouraging and sounding very disillusioned about the system. But then we just need to continue to do our work. Otherwise, what happens? Like I used to tell my friends, your great-grandchildren, your children will come to your grave and spit on it. Even though you were innocent, they will say, what did you do when it was happening? That's why we are washing off our hands like Pontius Pilate. But letting you know, but you have a duty to also do it. Whatever you can do on that angle, go there. Put it on your Facebook. Since Dr. Sam Amadi says we trade on, go there and say you were on that website, you didn't see anything. Why are they not posting anything on the website? Who knows if it is your intervention that will make them to begin to work. Let us even use the social media to begin to engineer. But we have to do it with facts. We have to be very, very knowledgeable, and that is why Primong is running on this program. We have to be knowledgeable so that we understand what we are doing. Before you begin to tackle them, you have the facts that will come out. Hello. Okay, your name and where you are calling from. Okay, go ahead, please.
You see, a corrupt country ruled by corrupt men. The ethnic people in that country, they are great enemies of you. What we are saying here now, if they hear you, we are going to be a great enemy to them because they are talking true. The type of country we find ourselves. When the government, they are not honest. And they expect the follower to be honest. If the government, they are not honest, you see, the country is corrupt already.
So you see the type of caliber they put for government. See the record, track record, if they have any key record among them. And then you see, you can never take on holiness with holiness. You work together. It's not possible. The type of government you have, corrupt country ruled by corrupt men. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that is the change we are, that is the change we are craving for.
We want a situation whereby the MDAs would not be pressurized to do the right thing. I mean, if the law says you should upload.
If they say upload, why don't you really upload? How many letters have we written? Because when we set up, and if you also ask Kachi, they would have told you, well, BPP, they will come. We invited them to this program today. Unfortunately, because of the public holidays, they said they will come in next week. We got ICPC to this place. But we are working with these groups. These groups are the ones shouting, like Kachi said, BPP is almost getting frustrated in their very rules not being obeyed. But we wrote letters to the Federal Minister of Finance. We wrote to the Presidential Tax Force. We wrote to all of them saying, look, this is what we are doing.
Minister of Humanitarian Affairs.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, who is also doing procurement.
Maybe they are special.
We take your advice, but it's not as if we have not been doing that. But they find it difficult to come. We'll continue. We don't want to say they will not come. We'll continue to admonish them to come, join us, so that we can do some more interaction. Hello.
Sir, Mr. Boss, please, sir. We've been discussing here. We want to see, is it possible for us to attack this problem from the roots? And what do we mean by this? If somebody wants to get into maybe campaign or anything or support a political party, we discover that most of these people money back, some bring out 2 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion, and so, like that. Now, when they come into public office, Mr. Bossremy, you will agree with me that number one of their project is to get that money back, then have profit, and then if enough will continue their political career. Now the question is, within 4 years, is it enough for them to make all these things before now trying to translate the so-called dividend of democracy to the people?
You are very forthright in the question you are asking, but it's actually one that is a flow from what we are doing. I know that a lot of money is spent during campaigns. On other of our programs, we'll begin to look at campaign. Who monitors campaign expenses? And then after you have monitored it, how do you know? How much did President Muhammadu Buhari spend to get elected in 2015? All those private jets that he was flying from one place to the other, who monitored it? Who brought in those monies? Have they recovered their money? How are they recovering their money? All these are issues that are with different organizations. The Independent National Electoral Commission, those who are tracking campaign funding and all that. But are we doing them? I don't want to bog my guests down with some of those things. But let's concentrate on the COVID-19 spending and how we are following with the rules that have been set by government itself. Hello.
Mr. Ed is calling you from Otago.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I think what is disturbing us in Nigeria is a systematic way of doing things in Nigeria. Because in a more civilized country, the system is functioning. You cannot see people being running for a public office as if they are running secret societies. So I don't see why our own thing is always different compared to the more civilized countries in the whole world. So I think we have to go back to the drawing board and do the needful. If we want to compete with other nations ahead of us right now, we have to go back to the drawing board and do what is expected from us.
Okay, thank you so much. Going back to the drawing board, everybody wants us to go back to the drawing board. My own drawing board, if you ask me, is going back to 1914. We go back to 1914 and begin to ask ourselves questions. This union that we have, how do we work together? How do we agree to live together? That's my drawing board. I don't know what your drawing board is. Of course, he has made his point. Our time is actually up, and I want to quickly take a wrap up from our guest, Dr. Sam Amadi, a teacher at the Base University. We call them lecturers. He's a lawyer, and we were together in the trenches in those days in the civil society group, jumping from one court to the other. I can still have the image of him wearing his court robes and running from one place to the other.
We're not teaching lawyers.
Please, your wrap up on this.
Well, I think, like Kachi said, like all of us said, we need to push more. But again, it's important for government, those in government who have oversight, to force agencies to perform. The essence of having oversight is that you create processes, you monitor processes, and enforce them. Again, let's not forget that BP has done a good job. At least they have the national open portal that all MDs are supposed to even
Open Treasury dot.
No, that one is for
That one is
The money is okay.
but for procurement, BP had the national open
Contracting portal.
Contracting portal. Okay.
and then this one is set up to open government, which part of it is the open contract, which is a key aspect of that. So with all this framework, this government kind of has signed up. It sounds good, excellent on
paper.
There's also the terrible.
Because the president and the president's men. And maybe I should ask you to comment as your own party.
They need to be more.
Yes.
To go up.
Is the president and his men, are they bothered about the implementation?
Well, it was the president that committed to implementing open contracting in Nigeria, as his part of his anti-corruption, campaign. So they are aware.
All right. I'll have to go now.
Please visit the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website at primorg.org to get all the information about Primorg. Many thanks to Kachi Chukwu, Program Officer, Public and Private Development Center.
And I want to appreciate Dr. Sam Amadi, a lecturer at Bayes University. Public conscience.
Senior lecturer, head of department.
Okay, senior lecturer, head of department. Before I get a query for you, which department is that?
Private and property law.
Okay, so we get it correctly. Dr. Sam Amadi, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Public conscience is supported by John T. and Catherine D. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the MacArthur Foundation through their website at macfound.org.
Join us again next week for another episode of Public Conscience on Radio, and hopefully by then we'll have someone from Bureau of Public Procurement joining us. I am Adaobi Obiabumo.
I'm Okiri Agbonsuremi, and remember, COVID-19 is out there. Stay safe.